Hello everyone, it is Kenyon here, it is Basketball Rewind, and we are here for a special edition today. That special edition is going to be breaking down the game of Scoot Henderson. Recently, I've done a lot of drafts prospect videos with the likes of Coach Roach or Reese from the Mouth of the North Reese Report, or even Beyond the Locker Room. I know a lot of you like my guests, but today I'm deciding to do a solo episode. So with that being said, I want to get into a couple of things and just outline. I'm going to be talking about some of the positive things that I like about Scoot, some of the negative things that or weaknesses that I think that Scoot will work on as a young man, as a young prospect, and get better at. But ultimately, this is here to give a full, complete breakdown of what I think and feel about Scoot Henderson. So, without further ado, let me just get into it. One of the things that teams can always use is someone, preferably a guard, who can push the break and someone who can play at different speeds, especially someone who can do that and initiate the offense in a decisive manner. When you combine all of that with someone's potential ability to pass at different speeds, which by the way, his assist rate is above 40% in the G League, and one's ability to play at any pace that they dictate, not that is dictated by anyone else, especially one that is done at a breakneck speed, it presents a lot of dangerous opportunities on the offensive end. And most importantly, it's when you couple those same abilities and you are able to get to the net and absorb contact. That, to me, is quite rare. For the Raptors, not just me, the last person to be able to kind of do this with any sort of certainty from the guard spot was Lowry, partially because of Lowry's body, not so much because of his height. Lowry was very speedy, yes, but he wasn't Scoot speedy. For other teams in the NBA, you can go down the line. Washington, it was pre-injury John Wall. OKC has Shea right now. Before it was Russell Westbrook. There are teams that have an ability, there are teams that possess players who have an ability to get to the hoop and be able to absorb contact and create rim pressure with a high degree of frequency. As he has bulked up and learned to basically add physicality with his game and also utilize that with his finesse game, that is what Scoot has built. He started with the finesse. He added the physicality. I'll just briefly focus on Lowry for just a quick second. Lowry always possessed an uncanny ability to push the pace, push the break with all of his passes. It was kind of a trademark of his for quite a while. Something that we've missed is someone who is a guard who pushes the pace. The closest that we have right now is Scotty Barnes, and Scotty Barnes does a great job of pushing the pace, but Kyle Lowry would be able to use his quickness to penetrate the lane against unset defenses. I think many of you will remember many times, even against the Philadelphia 76ers in the playoffs, where he would go up against unset defenses. He was catching opposing defenders when they would momentarily fall asleep, and then by the time they would wake up, he had already shifted the defense. He had already started running back. Scoot has some of this in his game. I don't know how to put it, but his motor, his engine, has a high degree of torque. And it's clear that when you look at this, Lowry and Scoot are different players. Okay. So that said, early on, I would say that right now, at the time of this recording, the 19-year-old has shown that he too, that being Scoot, is an unselfish, high IQ player, one of the highest that I've seen. Speaking of which, Scoot can pass, and not just pass, but he's a progressive passer who can manipulate defenses with a variety of pocket passes, in pick and roll, quick swing passes, and it is this willingness to pass. It's almost an obsession with passing, kind of like Barnes in a sense, but Scoot is Scoot and Barnes is Barnes. And you combine that with the constant threat of his aggression And that's when you really see things open up for not just him, but his teammates. Ultimately, Scoot has an ability to control the gears and pace of his motor, all while displaying an incredible ability of court awareness, as well as a beautiful handle. With that being said, let's talk about his handle life. So, Scoot's handle is where things get really interesting. When I see it combined with his foot speed on display. It's like he has the ball on a string. He's able to demonstrate a wide variety of different dribbling combinations and counters that he is able to, at this point, chain together, whether it be a Euro step, a hesitation dribble, or an in and out dribble, whole bunch of different plethora of dribbling combinations at his disposal. And you'll probably see that on the screen right now. It's one of the first things that I noticed about him that I was like, whoa, this kid can ball. The fact that he, went around, what was it? I think it was around the back with speed and control and still attacked the hoop with Wemby on him in that game or other games. The fact that he just doesn't get bothered when multiple defenders are thrown at him, or even any defenders at all, especially those with NBA or former NBA experience. That's pretty impressive. If I go on from that and I talk about his decision making, decisions is where things also get interesting for Scoot. For me, I have a saying that, and I've said it multiple times on this channel, you can never have enough high basketball IQ players on the court at any one time. It's something that Masai Ujiri has actually recently asked for. He said in his final season presser that he values high IQ players. Scoot's high IQ. But on top of that, you can't have enough playmaking. You can't have enough unselfishness on the floor. Now, sometimes you can be unselfish to a fault, for sure. But Scoot does both the playmaking and has high basketball IQ. And to boot, remember, he's just 19 years old. Scoot excels at making concise decisions, finding angles that hit his targets at the right time. And moreover, he has an ability to take space and create space. That combination of both taking space is something that some guys do, and they know where to cut, how to cut, etc., etc. Creating space is something different. When you have both, it means that you can both be effective on ball and impactful off ball. Scoot can do that. Again, his assist rate was above 40% in the G League. And that's pretty impressive for a 19-year-old. More importantly, he has an ability, he has the ability, not just to do that, but to get to the rim at will. And he knows when to go to the rim. He was able to do that. He showed flashes as well of, and this is going to surprise people, but he did show flashes of extending his range. He was very, very successful in the mid-range, shooting 45% in the mid-range with good form. Still a work in progress with expanding his game, but with a mid-range already there and secured, we're now seeing, again, this young man has a lot of runway that will allow him to develop and be successful at the NBA level and keep him on the floor to have that time to develop. And not everyone that we see who comes into the NBA has that. We talk about different ways to get to your, X percentile outcome, 90th, 95th, 99th. And because Scoot has very little to add to his game to get there, I feel confident that any amount of improvement on that shot, and he's good. He doesn't need to work on the dribble. Some guys need to work on the dribble, they need to work on this, they need to work on like 5 different things. He just needs to be able to shoot from at deep. And guess what? His mentor is Steph Curry. So he's learning from the best. And he's putting in the time now. And he's telling you right now, as a 19-year-old at a combine, I want to make any situation that I go into better. That means that he's above himself. He's about the basketball situation. He wants what's best for that too. Now, if I go into one other potential downside beyond his shooting would be the defense. He's not the most switchable. That is a very, very fair challenge. What I will say is that part of the concern there was his height, and the intel coming out right now, not from the combine, is that he's no longer 6'2". He has grown. And even if he isn't, he's 19 years old. I feel fairly confident that he might still have some room to grow as a person, both physically as well as otherwise. So he's not going to be as switchable as someone, say, a DeJounte Murray, but his size, his ability to take care of his body, his ability to come into the league fairly healthy with that body means that I'm fairly confident that he will be very successful in a lot of different ways, and I think he'll be able to take the punishment. He plays differently than Ja because he can really, hit that motor, that athleticism, he's dunking on people. At the same time, he's not dunking on people every time. He's a lot more, to focus on decisions. His decisions to go into that at different times, when and how, is what makes him different. It's what's going to give him a longer career than what most people think, because he's not going to get hurt. On top of that, he ain't a beanstick. He ain't a beanpole. He looks like a man coming into the league. And so, for me, and with all of that being said, as long as he can get that shot, which I believe he can, because he shot 45% in the mid-range. Not everyone can do that. He finished at the rim at a very high rate, and some of these finishes were with a high degree of difficulty, so he has shown touch close to the rim and out to the mid-range. If he expands his range, and if he's working on it, which he is, because other guys say, what are you going to work on for the summer? Most of them say, I'm going to work on everything. He just has to work on one thing, that shot, and he is working on it. So as long as he does that, I can see him making a great impact in his first year, and in subsequent years, I think he'll be very, very successful in the NBA, and that is kind of saying it at a lower level. Most importantly, I kind of understand why in most other drafts he'd be considered a lock for getting a number 1 spot as a pick. Scoot, I wish you luck. I hope you end up as a Raptor. I know not everyone may share my sentiment, and that is okay. But those are my thoughts. If you enjoyed this, like. If you didn't enjoy this, comment. If you liked it, then like and comment. And if you're not subscribed, subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Helps the algorithms, helps me to grow, and the feedback also helps me. Like, let me know why, or even if you did like it, let me know why, because it helps me to get better as a potential content creator for when I do have the time to create content. So yeah. Anyways, this has been a special edition, more of a closer to a breakdown edition of Basketball Rewind. And with that being said, take care and peace.